Inclusivity is a really important word in education, and rightly so. Here at the Leo Academy Trust, we're truly committed to creating inclusive learning environments where every single child can excel.
Our view of inclusion many years ago was children being given what they needed to thrive, which was often being taken out of the classroom and given a different style of teaching. And actually what we know now is that isn't needed, and you can provide that within a whole class environment if you've got the right tools.
Technology has been a real leveller in the classroom. It's given a real equity in terms of the provision. It's allowed teachers to adapt their teaching, but it's also allowed children to adapt their own learning.
We're really fortunate that every child has access to a one-to-one Chromebook and access to Google Workspace. On those Chromebooks, children have access to a wide variety of tools, and the tools provided by TextHelp are really transformational here. Read and Write and Orbit Note ultimately transform children's lives.
In terms of the impact of using those apps and thinking about children with English as an additional language, thinking about SEND learners, it really supports and accelerates their progress because the technology is being used as a scaffold and it's part of adaptive teaching. And adaptive teaching has been proven through the EEF to be really, really sound strategy for EAL, SEND learners, etc. So it's an evidence-informed approach. So that's what's important, that everything we do is evidence-informed.
By giving children access to a whole range of tools that can support them with all kinds of different needs and preferences, children are more able to access learning in a way that's meaningful to them.
Orbit Note is fantastic because it really helps all of our learners, because you might just think that it's helping our SEND children access some of the unknown words, opening up that text to them, but actually no, in fact, it's helping those children that can sometimes be hidden. Maybe our greater depth children that could be EAL, well, they might be embarrassed to put their hand up and go, I'm not sure of this word. Well, now they have that dignity of just accessing the word, the picture dictionary or the translation tool, which is fantastic, nice and quick. They can hear it in their mother tongue, understand the vocabulary in that language and have the translation as well. So it's really enabling both our greater depth and our lowers, and of course our middles, to access the learning.
I first came across Read and Write around 3 years ago, and my first thought was this would be a great tool for just a few words, a bit of vocabulary. It could just support a few SEN children. And then I quickly discovered that actually it's not just for the SEN children. We talk about being necessary for some, but it's definitely useful for all. And now we've progressed from, okay, so just using it for a few children, okay, it's used across the whole school for every single child, and they can choose when and where they want to use it.
If we didn't have Read and Write or Orbit Note or Chromebooks in general, it would be, I dread to come to school every day. It makes me feel like I can actually make a difference. I can really get my learning to improve without having to ask a teacher every single lesson, what should I do, how can I improve it, because I have the tools to do some learning on my own. The pupils, the experience of using Read and Write really empowers them and make them feel like they can also make a difference. They can do what they want to do because they have that power to write down and do work and learn, even if they have special needs or anything like that.
We've invested significantly in assistive technology tools, not because we think it makes a difference, but because we know it makes a difference.
When you walk into a classroom at Leo, children with SEND no longer stand out. And that, I think, is one of the greatest achievements of our digital strategy. What we've managed to do is really achieve a new dignified way of teaching and learning. The reason these children don't stand out anymore is that they've got their own device, and on that device they've got all the tools that they need to support their learning.
What would be remarkable is if the provision that we're seeing in place here, where every young person has meaningful and dignified learning experiences that are inclusive for the ways they want to learn, what would happen if that was made available for every child?